Hello everybody and welcome to another edition of Peteman Reviews. Today we have the Triple Changer Specials. These are the Decepticon Triple Changers, of course, and we have the original G1 versions, or at least as near enough as one was worth having, and also some third-party releases. The third-party releases come respectively from Unique Toys, DX9 and Toy World, and these give updated, slightly more accurate triple change versions than the original toys. So today we have Octane, or rather the universe version of Octane, who for copyright reasons is actually called Tankor. Poor Octane, he doesn't even have his real name. So why haven't we got the G1 version of Octane? Frankly, because it's rubbish. Let's have a look at an image from Transformers Wiki. God, isn't that bad? Just look at the truck mode on that. See if we can just zoom in a bit there. Just look at the truck mode. It barely qualifies as a truck there, doesn't it? It's so broken up. You've got arms. What the heck are these bits doing out here? And then you've just got all this broken up bit there. Just looks bad. Play mode works a bit better, it has to be said, but it's still got holes in it, stuff missing. And as for the robot, oh no, that's bad. That's really bad. I say, of the triple changes, I can't even see that there's any point in getting the G1 version of Octane. It's awful. Every mode is a compromise. Every mode. The jet mode is the best of the three, but every mode is a compromise. Nothing looks good. The robot mode in particular looks awful, and the truck mode, the worst of the three. Just don't even bother changing it into that. So instead, I got the universe version. Now the universe version, as I say, is called Tankor due to copyright issues, but it is Octane, isn't it? Now this is in fuel truck mode. Whoops. I'm not entirely convinced that this is a fuel truck. To me, it looks also a bit like one of those slow-moving trucks that transports planes. So if we had a plane stuck on there and it will pull it along, it looks a bit like one of those as well. But they do call it a truck. I suppose you might be an ice road fuel truck. Hard to say. I'm not convinced, however. Obviously, the third-party release looks like a fuel truck. It's the only version of Octane I've ever seen which looks like a fuel truck, and the other modes are a lot better as well. Still a few concessions, but we'll come to those when we do the review of that. So we're not going to do a direct comparison other than that, but just to say, size-wise, the Universe one compares pretty well. It's proper size. Obviously it's smaller than the third-party one, but you'd expect that. Most of the third-party ones are larger, and worth noting that they are built to a masterpiece scale as well. So we'll just move that version of Octane out of the way, and we'll look at Universe Tankor. Now, guns on here. You can either have the smokestacks, as Transformers Wiki suggests, or as the official instructions suggest, guns like that. I guess the reason they put the guns like that, effectively, is to try and cover up some of the compromises. So we'll just put these out of the way and have a look at it. So, good about this. Well, I do quite like the front. It works well. Painted, admittedly, but it looks quite well. That's really broken up. That doesn't look good. Nice innovative use of the shielding, all the wing parts here to go over there. Nice. The back's a bit of a mess though, isn't it, as well? So, and it's broken up, but it kind of works. So it's a lot more tolerable than the G1 release, but it has issues in this mode. Best mode by far is play mode. As is often the case, it has to be said with these ones. Excuse the cut on my hand, the cat got a little bit excited today. Okay, so you have to, first of all, you start detaching this. It is hooked on just here, and then on the other side, and this will... Okay, so now we've seen all the different parts, and it's quite obvious as to how they're all interconnected. What we need to start doing is by getting things so it's all the right way round. So let's start off by looking at the legs. Actually, what we're going to just do first of all, this little part here does flip like that, flip it up like that, get them out of the way, put those up like that, and now these will join together, like so. Everything does slot together. It's a little bit awkward, some of it, but the legs will just pull apart like that, wings go up like that, and then they will go round, this down, and then they will rotate like that. This produces our cargo plane. So you have all the wheels that were there are there. Cargo plane, obviously this is all up, it shouldn't be up, it should be down, but that's okay because it will just rotate like that. Tail fins. Well, yes, they are not the right way up, but this leg rotates like so. So you've got all the same colour here, which helps. And now the feet up like that. I say feet, it's a cap, but they do become Octane's feet later on. This all then sticks together, and now the tails go down. So again, you've got a nice closing effect there. Okay, are we there yet? Well, it looks like we are from the top, but we aren't underneath because it's still a bit of a mess down there. Okay, so now we've got this like that. We now need to attach this to the outside. You don't have to, you could have it like that, but because you've got all these wheels showing, it kind of makes sense. So that's got a little attachment there which hooks into there. So you want to have it this way round, so you've got the silver part at the front, and as you can see it just slots in like that. It looks a little bit odd, it's kind of meant as a skid ramp, but it does look a bit odd. Guns finally, now you've got one option really, they go into the little holes there. Like so. Into little holes there like that. Okay, so finally the plane goes that side up, and there you are. It's kind of a cargo plane is the idea. Could be a refuelling cargo plane. It looks a little bit odd with the skid ramp on it, but the skid ramp covers up most of the wheels, so that's why it's on there. Now the propellers do surprisingly all move. You wouldn't necessarily expect to see that. It's not too bad really, is it? It looks like a cargo plane. That's the key thing from above. So it's got nice detailing of the windows. The fact the propellers move is good. Wings look pretty good, don't they? Don't hit the camera. It's got propellers look good. Underneath is where it all goes wrong because it just looks a bit of a mess, doesn't it? But they've tried their best to cover up that, but it still looks like a mess. So we don't look underneath. So size performance comparison, if you will, with Generation 1 Starscream. Is smaller than Starscream. This is meant to be a cargo plane, people, and it's smaller than a jet. Yeah, it's a better size than some of the other G1 toys we've seen. I mean, this is a Universe toy, so you would expect it to be. So it's closer in size to the original G1, but it's still pretty darn small, isn't it? So that's a little disappointing. The cargo plane looks a lot better than the, is it a refueling trunk or does it pull other planes truck? I think that's his best mode, is the plane. And it's so much better than the original Octane. So the original Octane plane mode is decent, in comparison particularly with the rest of him, but I think this one is a better one. It looks far more like being a plane, particularly from the front view as well. Okay, so we'll take Starscream out of the way. Now we transform Octane here, or Tankor if you will, into his robot mode. Often the Achilles heel of some of these Transformers, as we've seen. Will it be with this one? Okay, so let's take these little guns off. Or we can take this off first, because it wants to come off. Then we take the guns off. Okay, so these do fold up and go away. We don't need them for that mode at all. Just fold them up out of the way for the moment. Start off by then moving these like upwards like so. This one's a bit stuck. There we go. Now these are going to form the basis of his feet. We're actually almost there with the feet. They do rotate round and then they extend like so. So you can see it's now got feet to him. This part here, it all comes apart as we saw before when it was joined together. Comes apart, and these are forming the basis of his arms. Now this then slides up. First of all, you need to, it's really stiff this part, you need to put that up like that. Come up there to give you his head. Now these are like that, but you do need to just rotate. It's quite a tricky thing, but you just need to rotate that down. So if you see what I did there, that's like that, and then you need to rotate the little black socket down so that's still up, with the head up again, and then this will then slot in front of there, and that just kind of holds it all in place, because it kind of just hooks all into the bits there. Okay, so the hands, well, rotate up. So splitting that in half, rotate up. Then this rotates down, this rotates down, and his hands are that. He has no hands at all to speak of. And then the wings at the back here, you could have them like that, like classic Octane, you could have them up like that. We'll have them out as classic Octane. Okay, so that's his robot mode. Give him some weapons. Now, the guns do actually join together to produce a kind of super gun, which we'll just do. They slot into this here, into that there. The reason we've done this is because finally have a use for the cover. It flips in half, breaks in half rather, like that, and you have a kind of sword, super sword, samurai sword, cutting sword, whatever you want to call it, and then this bit here will then fit into the hand hole there. See, on this side there is a little bit of sculpting just to show it's a hand, but there's precious little else to give Octane another weapon, or Tankor perhaps another weapon, but it's Octane really. Well, said it was often the Achilles heel of some of these Transformers. Let's have a look at the good for this then. So the good, head's nice, is a nice sculpt, and so's the chest here. For once, it looks pretty decent. Legs are all right. Feet, yeah, they kind of work. It's a little bit in that it's not particularly bulky with all the holes, but it kind of works. Arms, yeah, they're a bit odd, sticking out that high, but it kind of works. The hands are so disappointing. They're not hands at all. I know they put a sculpt on this side, but otherwise it just don't work other for that. And the wings come out. It's okay. It's just a little bit... Do you know what it looks like? It looks like the movie Transformers, in that it's a little bit too almost alien in design. There's so much of it which is a bit willowy. It's lacking in bulk. However, let's compare him to... I say Transformer of the Day. Obviously, this is a universe version, so it's a lot later than G1. It was meant to be a G1 version. He's a good height. He stands, ignoring his excessive shoulder pads from the head to the head, much taller than Hoist. So that's kind of what you wish the others, Blitzwing and Astrotrain, if you haven't seen those videos, look at them now, would be, in that he is much taller than them. He feels like the right height. He actually is lacking in bulk again. He's a bit too willowy and wispy. And his legs are so much taller than the rest of him. I guess that's true of most people as well, but the legs are so much taller. And the fact they start off bulky and go thin, again, I know that happens with a lot, but it just accentuates the fact that he's a bit too willowy and wispy. So it's not bad. It's by far the best robot mode of Octane you will get, unless you go third party, but it's by far the best version of Octane you will get, because Octane hasn't been released very much. Why? Well, it's a good question really. He is really deserving of a proper re-release, and I don't really know why Hasbro haven't. Is it because of copyright and they can't call him Octane anymore? I don't know, but it's the one that's lacking the most, because the original release was so bad. The Universe version fixes those problems. It does have its own, where things don't look quite right. But why haven't they re-released it? Don't know. Regardless, I say Octane is by far the least popular of the original Decepticon Triple Changers. So much so, he didn't even appear in season 2 of the cartoon, whereas Blitzwing and Astrotrain did. Octane appeared briefly in season 3, and it was only for a few episodes, so he is by far the least popular of them. In the cartoon series, that's the cartoon series, in the comic book series, he appears at the same time as all the others, but he's not used very much. To be fair, Blitzwing and Astrotrain are only used fleetingly as well, but he doesn't have quite the same appeal. I guess, excuse me, I guess when you transform into a petrol tanker and the others transform into a gun and a train, you're always going to lose out. But there we are. So that's the Universe Tankor. We all know it's Octane. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave any comments below and I'll see you for the next review. Thank you. Goodbye.